Alright, welcome back. We're on day 8, which goes with worksheet 6. Let's do a shout out to Jocelyn, Emily, and Emily in period 7. This one's for you. It's a nice calculator one. So, we're doing inverse trig. So, first thing we're going to do is some calculator stuff. Make sure your calculator is in the correct mode when you're working. Right now, all these answers or all these questions are in degrees. So, we go to our mode button, and sure enough, degree is highlighted. If it's not, go down, move over, and hit enter on degree. Second mode gets us back out of there. Alright, so all you have to do is basically type these in. So, sine of 327. Now, we are finding the ratio. So, this is like finding the fraction at that angle. Okay, and you get negative 0.5446. 10,000th is 4 decimals. So, negative 0.5446. I'm not going to write those down. I'm just going to get all of them real fast because I can see them then. Cosine of negative 631 degrees is that 0.0175. And then for cosecant and cotangent, there's no button for cosecant or cotangent. So when you have the angle, you just type in 1 over sine, because cosecant's the same thing as 1 over sine. So I'm just going to do 1 divided by sine of 196. And you get negative 3.6280 when you round that up. And cotangent is the same thing as 1 over tangent. So 1 divided by the tangent of 738. And there's our answer, 3.0777. Alright, so let's write all those down. So I have negative 0.5446 for that one. I had 0.0175 for letter B. This equated to negative 3.6280, and this one equated to 3.0777. So that's how you use the calculator to start off those. With radians, it's the same thing, except for you change your calculator to radians. To do that, hit mode, go back to radian, hit enter on it, and now radian is highlighted. You have to be very careful when you're working with trig that you're in the correct mode on your calculator, or else the problems will come out wrong. So, secant is the same thing as 1 over cosine. So I'm going to say 1 divided by the cosine. Now, in here, since we're putting a fraction in here, you have to have parentheses. So it's actually, you don't, because it actually doesn't matter. 3 second pi over 7. As long as you make sure all of that's in the parentheses with cosine, you should be okay. So 1 over cosine of that, and we get 4.4940. The sine one we could just type in as is, negative 16 pi. Whenever you have pluses or minuses on top and bottom, though, make sure you're putting your fractions in parentheses. Divide by 11. So that would be 0.9898. And cosecant is 1 over sine. So 1 divided by sine of negative 5 pi over 9. Oh. And we get this. Negative 1.0154. So, those are with radians. So let's write those down. But it's basically the same thing, just change your calculator mode. .9898, and this one was negative 1.0154. Okay, so now we're finding the angle. So we're doing inverse sine, inverse cosine. Okay, so here's how you do that. We have, first of all, nearest minute means degrees, minutes, seconds, so go back to degrees. Don't forget to change your calculator back again. Okay. So sine of theta is 0.5723. Well, that's the same thing as saying the inverse sine of 0.5723. Because when you want to find the angle, you hit second sine. So we hit enter. and we get that, but that's not to the nearest minute. So we hit second angle and go to DMS, and we get, so we have 34 degrees, 54 minutes, 38.765 seconds. Here's where you have to be careful. To the nearest minute, you have to round up if you have bigger than half. Well, sure enough, seconds are in units of 60. So 38 is bigger than half of 60. So the 38 actually rounds up to the next minute, because 38 seconds is closer to 55 than 54. So the actual correct answer with rounding would be 34 degrees and 55 minutes. So this is 34 degrees and 55 minutes, because the 38 degrees rounds up. Okay. Now let's do tangent. So tan inverse of 4.8762. It's probably closer to 90. Yep, 78 degrees. Second angle number 4 to get DMS. Let's look at this one. Again, 78 degrees, 24 minutes, 38 seconds. To round to the nearest minute, 38 is bigger than 30. So 30 and above, you round up for these, not 50. So there should be 78 degrees, 25 minutes. Now these are the tricky ones. Okay, instead of writing 1 over cosine, we turn it into sine, because we know 1 over cosecant, or 1 over sine, is equal to this. Well, if I cross multiply and solve, I get sine is equal to 1 over 1.9632. And now I can do my calculations. So in the calculator, I'm going to say that the inverse sine, because there's no cosecant button, of 1 divided by 1.9632. And I hit enter, and I get that answer, which is 30 degrees, and we'll see what minutes it is by doing second DMS. This time we do not round up. If you look, it's 30 degrees, 37 minutes, 19 seconds. 19 seconds does not round up. So we get 30 degrees, 37 minutes. Cotangent's the same thing as 1 over tangent. So if we flip that around, tangent is equal to 1 over 0.2578. So now we can put that into our calculator. Second tangent inverse of 1 divided by 0.2578. And then we hit second angle 4, and we get 75 degrees. Look at the rounding. This does round up. 75 degrees, 33 minutes. Okay, so now that's how you use the calculator. You can also use the calculator to get your radian measures on the unit circle. You guys should know kind of what this is. Root 3 over 2 is either a 30 or a 60. Okay? Well, when x is bigger, y is going up a little bit. That should be 30 degrees. But to get it in radians, you can actually get the calculator to do it. All you do is use the inverse key and then divide by pi, because technically the answer to this is pi over 6. Okay, and I'll show you how to get that now. So if we do inverse cosine, well, first of all, the mode needs to be in radians, because we want the answer in radians. So this is how you can check this if you want. You do second cosine inverse of root 3. Be careful how you enter this in. So like that has to be closed off, because that's my root 3, divided by 2, and now the whole fraction gets closed off. So I hit enter. That is pi over 6. But if you don't know that decimal is pi over 6, how you figure it out is you divide, after you do the inverse, which is written on your right hand side, divide that answer by pi, because then we're going to take the pi out to see what the fraction is. Well, that's not what I wanted to do. I want to divide by pi. And when I take the pi out, I get the fraction. And there's my fraction. It's 1/6. So it's 1/6 pi, or pi over 6 is the answer. which you should have known anyway just because we've worked with the unit circle now. Hopefully you knew that when the cosine's plus root 3 over 2, the first time it hits is pi over 6. We're going to talk about how there's actually more than one answer to that, but the calculator only gives you one. That's actually the next lesson, I believe. Alright, tan inverse of 1. Well, you guys should all know that, wait, where's tangent 1? Well, it's when sine and cosine are the same, when x and y are the same. That should be pi over 4. It should be 45 degrees. But let's look. Second tangent of 1. Okay, we get that weird decimal, but that's like saying pi over something. So let's get rid of the pi. So let's divide that by pi, and we get 0.25, which is a fraction of 1 over 4. So my answer is pi over 4. Sine of 1/2 is the same thing as cosine of root 3 over 2. So you should get, again, a pi over 6. But let's just check it. Sine inverse of 0.5. We have this weird decimal. We have to divide by pi. And sure enough, that is, again, 1/6. So my answer is pi over 6. Okay? So that's that. We have a little bit more. Oh, this is just another way it's written, okay? These are written so that they're written already like so you're taking the inverse of them. However, you have to think about where it came from. This is the same thing as saying sine theta is equal to 0.6728. It's just now written in the form, you can just type that in. This one you have to be careful. You can't say it's 1 over sine of this, because this came from cosecant theta is equal to the negative 3.2578. So to do it in terms of sine theta is 1 over negative 3.2578. So the actual thing turns into, it looks like this. Okay, so it flips over the fraction only. It doesn't flip over the whole thing. You don't do 1 over sine. You just do 1 over the number. Here you can just type it in. Secant, you have to do cosine of 1 over. I'm not going to go through all that. How to do it, I just did it up here. This one's already written as is. You can just type it in, change your calculator to the correct mode. And let's quickly do these. Oh, I should have hit mode. See, because we're on radians, we got to go back to degrees. And here we go. Sine inverse of 0.6728 is, and again, it's the same problems you were doing earlier, just another way to look at them. 42 degrees, 17 minutes. Next one, we already figured out what it has to look like. Second sine of 1 divided by negative 3.2578. Okay. You hit enter. You get that. Second angle for, I'm just turning it. So it's 17 degrees, 53 minutes because of the round up with the 33. So negative 17 degrees, 53 minutes. Okay, so these are our answers. Last two, just type them in as is, and we're good to go. I'm just going to finish it up here. You guys probably have been done for like 5 minutes now. But like I said, it's good to have it all on the video. So we get 73 degrees. I lost my calculator. 4 minutes. And finally, the cosine one. Cosine inverse of 1 divided by 7.8432. And we get that, which is 82 degrees, 40 minutes, and technically this is not 30 yet, so you don't round and then round again. Look at this number right here. It's 29, so we don't round up. So it's 82 degrees, 40 minutes. Alright, So that is what you do with those. If you have questions on anything on that, obviously ask me tomorrow. It's very important that you know how to work with the calculator, because there's just problems just like this on your quiz, which can be really easy to do as long as you're doing them the correct way. So that is all. I'll see you guys later.